Hello, and welcome back to Business Communications. So, today we're looking at how to communicate effectively in business. And I'm Professor LaRue, and we'll be walking you through Module 1 today. So, communications, by definition, is usually known as storytelling. But there's more to it, like understanding yourself, your message, how you give that message out to others, and how they respond to you. So, in business, you need to understand that communication is the key to success. And my sister, head of human resources, very often reminds me of how managers have a really hard time communicating properly with their employees, and that's the root cause of all their human resources issues that come back to her. And I often laugh because I manage a team of people, but it is difficult sometimes making a clear message across the organization to make sure that everyone understands what your intention is, what you're talking about, what you would like to communicate. So here's some strategies in Module 1 that will help you communicate a little bit better. And I'll get started first with problem-solving activities. So determine what's the situation, what is the best course of action, what's the best way to deliver that message, and what are possible communication strategies, and what is the best way to design that message. So ask yourself those questions before you tackle giving a message out to people, whether it's in the business world or even in your personal life as well. So, for example, when I tell my family that I would like the dishes done, I need to think about it, how to get them to actually do it and not complain about it. So, it could be at any point, whether it's in business or personally. So, take a brief moment to write down maybe 5 words about what you want to do and where you want to be in about a year from now. And then write a quick paragraph of what and where you would want to be with using those 5 words that you thought about. Now, the next area of Module 1 talks about qualities for good communication. So some of these are communication skills, verbal and written, strong work ethics, teamwork skills, initiative, and analytical skills. So, for example, how successful YouTubers capture an audience and get people to follow them is because of good communication. I often include YouTube videos in my lectures in different classes that I teach, and truthfully, the ones that communicate the best get to make it in my lectures, not necessarily the ones that have the best data, unfortunately. So, it is so important, even today when online communication has taken a much bigger role. It's so important to make sure that you communicate properly and effectively. Take a moment, if you have now, to imagine yourself that you were hired to make cold calls about a restaurant that's opening up in your area. So write like one paragraph script that will help you sell the message about a restaurant that you have seen in your area that might be promoting its business. And then you can reflect a little bit of how that message is given and how that might help you in business as well. So communication also means to share information, and so it's critical that first of all you have understanding, which means to perceive, interpret, and relate that information to others. Also that you share, so doing something together with one or more people, and the meaning of the message. So what we share through communication, it's really important that we note what the meaning of the message might be. And there's 8 essential components of communications that you want to become familiar with. Those are source, message, channel, receiver, feedback, environment, context, and interference. So if you can take a moment now to define each of these terms by looking them up online and becoming familiar with how each of those work. So there are two models of communication you need to be aware of. That's a source and a receiver. And you will be playing both roles in communications. One takeaway from the Saylor book that on Module 1 is that communication involves understanding, sharing, and the meaning of the message or information you're trying to convey. Also, keep in mind that you need to incorporate those 8 essential components of communication in your message. And then there's also communication in context that's mentioned in Module 1, and this involves interpersonal communication, so also known as self-talk, when you're encouraging yourself to do something or you might react to a situation. There's also interpersonal communication, and this involves 2 people, and it can be personal, formal, or impersonal. There's also interpersonal, so that is different from intrapersonal. And interpersonal communication involves 2 people and can be also in a situation where it can be personal or impersonal. There's also group communication, so a smaller group of people interchanging ideas with one another, versus public communication, which is more like public speaking when you're talking to a larger group. And of course, there's mass communications, which we often see from companies when you want to send a message across a larger population of people. Now, there's an example I wanted to share with you when I first spoke publicly. And I always share this with my students because it is a little bit funny how I got started. But I had a boss at Kaiser Permanente who encouraged me to start speaking on behalf of our team, just because there was not enough of him to go around. So I decided to take the challenge, and I flew down to where the conference was, and I was sitting in front of a group of people. There might have been about 30 people in front of me that I was speaking to, and there were about 3 panelists, including me, who were speaking from different organizations. And I was pretty nervous, and my palms were sweaty, and I thought I can do this, but it's gonna be a rough one. And sure enough, I turned to the guy next to me, to the other panelist, to introduce myself, and his hand was shaking on the table. So I thought, okay, I'm not that nervous. I think I can do it. After that, it was smooth sailing from there. I think I gained some confidence and did okay. They invited me back to talk more to larger groups after that, so I think it all worked out for the best. But a lot of times you have to take that first step and go out of your comfort zone to make it more effective when you're communicating. And there's also the module that talks about your responsibilities as a communicator. So how you have to be prepared and organize, narrow and focus on the key points, link the main points together, and also be prepared and clear. And this is so important to have a clear idea of what you want to convey, have a clear presentation, make sure your equipment works. That a lot of times makes a big difference. And lastly, but not least, is to be ethical. So always treat others as you would like to be addressed and treated. So that's it for Module 1. I will see you again for Module 2, more on communicating effectively. Thank you.